This Raw Vision video is brought to you by Metro Solar, proud partner of the Richmond Football Club.
Can we get the today's stuff out of the way, Damien, and just your reaction as a footy man to what's happened?
Yeah, look, it's disappointing. It's a community issue overall, you know, from a footy perspective, we're no different. And I think education's a key. The one thing about the AFL and AFL players in general we do well is we probably, in essence, educate as well as anyone or as good as anyone. So, look, it's disappointing from our point of view, and you know, I feel for the player on the front of the paper, really. I don't think it's something we should be putting there, but from my perspective, the key component here is the welfare of the player, and I think it's really important. I think it's something AFL in general do very well, and we just got to make sure we continue to educate our players of the risks associated with it.
Have your welfare people, has it sort of stepped up the drug education as it seems to have become more of an issue? Look,
I think overall, as I said previously, from a community point of view and as a father of 3 children, it's an issue. There's no doubt about that. But I think the education format that the AFL has put in place has been very good. But like we've spoken about before, you know, a policy put in place 10 years ago, like anything that you put in 10 years ago, we outgrow that. So we've got to continue to set the agenda with this. And I credit the AFL and Mark Evans and Gill to do that. You know, they'll do a very good job of making sure that we remain at the forefront of this, because it's really important from a club welfare point of view, from the education of our players, that we continue to educate and make sure we get the players and people in general to realise the danger of this, you know, this society issue, if that makes sense.
And following on from that, in terms of upgrading the program, would you support changing 3 strikes to 2?
Oh, listen, that's something, once again, we'll leave to the AFL and the players to dictate. And, you know, they're at the forefront of this. There's not any other, I think, sporting organisation or league in the world that has an illicit drugs policy. And, you know, once again, trying to do the right thing. We've just got to continue to educate and strive to get the result we're after.
It's pretty obvious it's not working for one club, though. So does change needs to happen now? Is it too late to wait until the end of the year?
Well, once again, it's unfair for me to judge a club on something that I know very little about and the facts of the case. So we'll just leave that to the AFL and the clubs in general to work their way through.
This weekend, do you see it as a danger game? Because you've won ones that you perhaps maybe weren't tipped to win, and then you lost ones that you were tipped to, the other way.
Yeah, look, GWS are a very good side. You know, I know they've lost Mumford and a couple of defenders, but the fact of the matter is their midfield's as good as anyone's going round. You look at the statistical analysis of their players, Shield, Treloar, Ward, these type of players. If they get the game on their terms, they'll beat us. We've just got to make sure we take away their strengths, work on a couple of things to get the game on our terms, and we'll get the result we're after. But the fact of the matter is, as I've said previously, if you allow any side to play the game predominantly on their terms, you're going to get beaten regardless of personnel. So it's going to be a good challenge. They've got a very good forward line. They've got an outstanding midfield. They're missing a few troops down back, but the game's going to be won or lost in the middle. The contested ball game's going to be crucial this week. We're going to make sure we come out on top in that battle.
Do you speak to your players about the backing it up and making sure you don't let yourselves down?
Yeah, we speak about the process that goes about to bring about the result, and that's really important for us, and most teams will be in a similar type of format with regard to that. So we've just got to continue to set about our standards, make sure we play to the best of our ability, and make sure everyone plays their role. And if we do that, we'll give ourselves a chance to win the game.
Is it a pattern that you've noticed internally? It's been said a lot that you win the games that you go in as underdog and you lose the games that you're a favourite. Has that been noticed by you internally?
Oh, not really. We've probably had some performances where we haven't played as well as we'd like, but if you take, look back a season of 22 games, we've won probably 16, lost 6. So our performance has been relatively consistent. Sure, we've dropped some games, but all sides do. Fact of the matter is, if you don't come to play in certain situations, regardless of your opposition, you're going to get beaten. We've just got to make sure we prepare as well as we can. We tick every box in that regard to our preparation and come out and play the way we know we should.
What does it do for a club when...
Sorry, mate, I've got you twice.
You go.
All right, thanks. How eager are you to put together some good form on the MCG? Because it's probably the missing piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, we have been a little bit disappointing this year at home from our point of view, but I think our progression of form has improved for a number of times. Look, West Coast were just too good for us on that night. We played not to the level that we would have liked, and we get an opportunity to rectify that this week against a young, hungry opposition that's full of talent. And let's be honest, their talent is good. It's as good as anyone in the competition. They've got a lot of players in there that are capable of winning games by themselves, so we've got to make sure we we take away their ability to run, their ability to create, run and carry, and try and get the game to be a bit more of a, a bit of a slogfest.
Just wanted to ask about the mood of the club when you have the re-signings you've had lately. I mean, what does that do for the rest of the team? Does it feel like there's a bit more bubbly around the place, especially when you're winning games as well?
Yeah, it does. Look, it's a great sign that the players think the club is headed in the right direction. Under Peggy and Brendan, they've done a terrific job of stabilising us off-field, with financial gains and, the ability for us to play in this facility, the ME Bank Centre as well. So for us, it's a really good sign that players believe in the way we're going. What we've just got to do is continue to strive to improve in all areas. The moment you stand still in this industry, the moment you get past. So we'll continue to get better from a players, coaching, administration point of view.
Were you pleased to see Jack Revolt and the positional move really pay off big time? Because it's one of those things that I think as a coach you brought in and a few people question it.
Yeah, the great thing about Jack is he'll play any role that the team needs him to play that week. So whether it's up the ground at various stages or at stages we isolate him deep, and he plays a role really well. And it's been a number of years in the making. Probably what we have needed is some other players, like Ben Griffiths and Ty Vickery, to stand up. And thus far they've contributed on the scoreboard and been a real pivotal target inside 50. And we'll continue to challenge opposition defence with the flexibility that we have with those three tools. And Griff, I thought, was probably a little bit down last week, but had a couple of moments in the game where I thought he delivered for us late. And Ty's been relatively consistent. His second half last week was as good as footy I've seen him play. So we've been pleased with those guys. The consistency of performance is what we're after, and that allows us to dictate a little bit more to the opposition.
Be honest, how big were the Rockets at quarter time and half?
No, they weren't. Oh, listen, I'd love to say it was a fire and brimstone type speech, but the fact of the matter is it's easy to yell and scream. The hard thing out is to get the process right, and we spoke about a couple of adjustments that we had to make, but basically we backed our players in to play their roles that they've been doing previously over the last 4 to 5 weeks. And to their credit, Trent stood up enormously in that third quarter, as did all our leaders, and all credit goes to our playing group for that. They stuck fat and got the result we're after. Big win.
Sorry, a little bit left field, but training in the rain. A lot of clubs now we see go inside and stuff like that. Do you actually train in the rain? I mean, on Saturday there's nothing to say that it's not going to be pelting.
Yeah,
what's your thinking?
Well, it is an opportunity because we don't often see rain, believe it or not. Funny we say that about Melbourne, but it gives us an opportunity to practice some wet weather footy at various stages. We're not quite sure what the conditions are going to be, obviously, on the weekend, so we'll still practice our dry weather footy as much as we can, but it gives us an opportunity for 5 minutes, say, practice some wet weather fundamentals that we haven't seen this year. So it provides that unique. We won't train inside, put it that way.
So why do teams do it? Is it because the doctors say they might get sick, or why do teams not train?
I just think sometimes the conditions are that poor you're not going to get much out of the session, but it's not that bad today. So the ground's still relatively solid under feet.
Could I just go one more back onto the drugs? Do you sit your players down and just give them one chance now to say, look, we know what's going on. If something's happening, come to us now. Do you give them a chance to do that?
Once again, I think our education processes that we put in place from a club perspective and an AFL perspective, our doors are always open. There's no doubt about that. And our players are very upfront to that. So I'd be disappointed if that didn't happen already. Thanks, guys.